Too many injuries, not enough practice time, and the almighty dollar. Today we're taking on the NFL preseason.
Go Bridgeside!
And we are back with another episode of Brooklyn Versus. Today we're talking Brooklyn versus the NFL preseason. I got Donnie, I got Phil. Donnie, I'm kicking it right to you. So the NFL preseason now is 4 games.
Yep.
Do you think it's too long, too short? What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, it should probably be 2.
Okay.
There's a couple of angles on this. 1, 2 of the games amount to nothing. Okay. You get to see a couple of guys that are going to be between the 53rd, 52nd guy and the practice squad guys. But it's not worth enough to keep more than 2 games going. And they actually charge the fans, the season ticket holders, to purchase these games.
Right.
So you have to buy 2 preseason games along with your 8-game pack.
So you're paying for 10, and we'll get into the money aspect. The money aspect into a second. So you think the 4 games is too much?
Everything they're trying to accomplish in the 4, they can absolutely accomplish in the 2.
Okay.
Especially since their starters, the guys that you're looking to see as the viewer, the fan, and the guys that they want to see produce the most, they're really not giving them that much time anyway. Again, it's a look for the guys that are trying to make the roster. Okay. So you can do that in 2.
But, all right, so Phil, I'll pose you this question. Now, Donnie said it's only 2 games. What about those special teams guys? What about those depth players? You think 2 games is enough, or do you think it should remain at 4?
I disagree. I don't think it's enough 2 games. I think it needs to stay 4 games. And part of the reason is because, so in the last CBA collective bargaining agreement, they cut down the amount of practice you could have in training camp.
Okay.
There's no more 2-a-days, right. So the practice time is cut down.
You can't hit as much?
You can't hit as much.
Yeah.
So I think we've seen that. To start the season, games have been a little bit sloppier at the start. And I personally think that's a direct result from the lack of practice. And I get player safety, so I'm not going to get into that.
Okay.
But if you start cutting down preseason games now, that's only going to make the regular season more sloppy. Those games at the regular season are going to be like the starters just going out there for the first time and competitive. It needs to stay, because practice is a little bit less in training camp. This needs to be 4 games.
The intensity of 4 games.
You have to get. I think preseason should be a little bit. I wouldn't mind if starters played a little bit more in the preseason. Not a crazy amount, but they, like Don said, they really just play 1 game.
All right. Well,
and for those special teamers, I think you need all those games to really. Those guys are playing for their livelihood.
Right. And
the roster makers.
Let's give them 4 games
for them.
Let's give them 4 games to play.
I mean, I agree. You both make good points, but I'm going to take it from the perspective of, let's say, a fan.
Yep.
Right? Me as a fan, I want no part of 4 preseason games.
I agree.
They were talking. The NFL was talking, and we'll get into the money aspect in a second. They were talking about going to 2 games and then making an 18-game season. All right. And you brought this up before, the whole season ticket package.
Right.
So you're a Jet season ticket holder, correct? Or
My
you were
brother
a Jet?
is. My
brother.
brother is,
Okay.
yep.
So 8 games, 2 preseason. You have to pay for 10 tickets.
Correct. Same price. Yeah.
Same price. And do you think do you go to the preseason games? You have to pay for them. Does your brother go to the games, being, he's a fan?
He goes because it's something, it's like a release, it's like a hobby, so he'll go. He won't always go to them, he'll give some away, but for the most part he's going. And I've gone to a couple with him. Yeah, exactly. You want to get back into it. And I'm sorry, I'm going to go off on this tangent quickly. As New York fans, they even try to get our beaks wet with the New York Jets Giants,
Week
and
3.
even that is unbearable.
Yeah, but you know what, though? At least I will say in terms of
Victor Cruz had a 3-touchdown game in the New York
Where's he now?
Giant preseason game.
I will say, though, the third preseason game is the one that starters play the most.
That's the apex of the starter role. Correct. Yes.
Now, what about 3 games? Is that possible? Because, you don't have home and away. Everybody doesn't play an equal amount. I mean, it's kind of like a happy medium. Can they do it that way?
That's probably where money sharing comes into play.
Well, it's all revenue sharing regardless. It all gets split up.
And you'd alternate just like you do with everything else, obviously. So that could be worked out, I'm sure, logistically, yeah.
And the dollar end, and we'll talk about this, in another episode of Brooklyn Versus with our, loyalty to the owners. Dollar and cents-wise, I don't think the players want it. Because it's 2 more games. If they went to an 18-2, that they would have to be out there playing and a greater chance to get hurt. Mm-hmm. The owners definitely want it because it's another 2 games that more people will be at the stadium.
But to scale, though, they'd probably have to pay them more if they're going to 18 regular season games.
Well,
I would think absolutely.
If they go to
game checks are game checks.
I understand that, but if they did go to 18 games, they had to pay them they're still making that much more money. They're getting 2 extra games a year.
Right.
So the amount of money they're paying the players would be far less than the amount of money that they're going to bring in.
No, but that doesn't matter. They're still, from the player perspective, they're still paying the players, no matter how much more they make.
You're saying if they prorate the salaries to add an extra 2 games?
They would have to go to scale.
Okay.
Otherwise, the Players Association would go nuts.
Yeah, if you do 18 games, you'd have to pay them more.
Yeah.
But if
I don't think you would.
Yes,
if
you would,
go,
definitely, yeah.
If
The
you
Players
go,
Association would never
hold on.
agree to anything
Yes,
again.
I agree. And I'm sorry. If you go to 18 games, you got to be out of your mind if you have this whole platform about player safety, and then you're going to add 2 more dangerous games on top of that per season.
Well,
no. Those are 2 different things in my mind.
Why is that 2 different
Because
things?
you could clean up certain aspects of the game to make it safer and add games.
You have to do that before you start getting into 18 games for the season.
Well, they're going on that path. They're not there yet.
It's going to be
You gotta
flag
go a little
football.
further.
It's going to be flag football.
Which is what
eventually.
none of us want.
I don't think 18.
No, I'm sorry.
But
there'll still be ratings. There'll still be ratings.
You mentioned injuries, right? And a safer game, like because they're exhibition games. How many injuries over the years have happened?
I can't remember.
Season-ending injuries where
can
guys
remember
get
Mike
hurt.
Vick.
Mike Vick comes to mind. That was
his
a
leg, I
big one
remember.
after a tremendous year.
Just twisting on turf has so many ankle injuries
But
a
that's
year.
just the nature of football.
Yes, of course.
And
that part
and
that
that's
part
why-
of the injuries, you're not going to get
A
around.
knee getting locked up
Yeah.
on a turn. Yeah, it
The
happens.
concussion's different, but
absolutely.
Those knee
But that's
injuries,
why I think that would lend better to, you could say that, all right, let's add another 2 games because you're playing 2 more meaningful games. I feel like if guys get hurt in preseason, they're more upset than if they got hurt in the regular season. Is that fair? I mean, look at Beckham last year. He hurt his knee against the Browns. He was never the same. He ended up missing, got hurt in week 5. And he said he was...
I know, he did break his ankle, so it's not like... Yeah,
but he was never 100%.
You're right about that, but the ankle breaking, he landed the wrong way. I don't think the knee really played a factor in that. But you're right, he did say he didn't feel 100%.
I think that if we're going to cut games from the preseason, they would have to go funnel into 2 more regular season games. And I do think that the players would appreciate that more because, one, again, just to go back to my original point, they would get paid more, in my opinion. I know you disagree.
I agree with that opinion.
And so I do think that it would mean more, to your point, especially if they got injured in a regular season game against a preseason. Because, again, they're on the field, they're getting more of a game check, and they're going more towards a playoff spot. Because those games mean more.
Put this way, if the owners made it 14-game season, you think the owners would pay the players the same amount of money?
No.
There you go.
So why would the players...
But the owners hold all the power.
But why would the Players Association...
Less so
agree?
now,
I
less
know.
Less so. The Players Association
They
is
need
strong,
to
but they
play
still
more
hold
and more
a lot of
guaranteed
power.
Players
money,
Association needs to do more.
Listen, I'm going to end on this. This is the last thing I'll say. Somebody big will get hurt during the preseason this year. Whether it's week 1, 2, or 3, you're going to have a star NFL player. Heck, it might even be Le'Veon Bell if he plays the preseason. But that's going to happen, and this conversation will be circulating around ESPN, around Fox. You're going to hear this exact conversation. Should the preseason be shorn?
Yes, absolutely.
Should the preseason be shorn?
And Keenan Allen is always the odds-on favorite.
Keenan Allen, yeah. The best players always gets hurt.
That guy went out with like a lacerated kidney one day. He just gets hurt.
Everything.
Yeah.
And on that note, thank you everybody for joining us. This has been another episode of Brooklyn Versus. Till next time.
Go Bridgeside.
Take care of yourselves and each other.
Paul, good?
No, yeah, we just keep doing this. This is how it ends.